Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. I read an article recently that said this Sunday, many parishioners are considering taking guns along with their Bibles to church. Oh my, like that's a big change. I gotta tell you, I've carried a gun to church pretty much since I've started going to church. That's what I think those really cool little Bible bags are good for. That also has space in there for a gun, right? That's before I carried on body, but I started doing that, or a diaper bag, right? Here's the reality. I care about you, and I encourage you, men and women, more especially women, to be quite frank, need to carry a gun all the time. All the time, 24/7, 365. If you go someplace and they have one of those signs that says you can't carry a gun in here, I reckon you have two choices. You can not go in there, that's a choice, or you can ignore the sign. Do you think criminals ignore those signs? Do you think a criminal is stopped by the sign that says a circle through a Beretta? He's not. Are you a criminal or a good guy? Personally, I'm on the side of law and order. I think you should just not patronize those establishments. How's that for an official disclaimer? But those are your two choices. I've told the story before. I was roofing that, putting shingles on that, and my neighbor came over, Archie Homesteader, rode his four-wheeler down, and I'm up there. It's hot. I'm wearing a pair of cut-off jean shorts and a t-shirt. I've got my tool belt on, doing that kind of thing with the shingles. And I've got my Glock on. And he can see it, and he goes, "Joe, what are you so afraid of?" I said, "Rick, I'm not afraid of anything. Most especially when I got my Glock." But I gave him this concept, and again, I've said it here before, but it evidently bears repeating. You don't get to pick when you're going to have to use your gun. It's not up to you. If it was up to you and you knew that you were going to have to pull your gat, you wouldn't be there. You just wouldn't go. And if you had to go, you'd bring all your friends with rifles. You don't get to pick. The chances that I'm going to have to use my handgun out here are slim to none. Actually, they're slim. The chance that I'm going to have to use it against a bad person are slim to none. I may have to shoot a coyote or a wild dog or, something like that attacking my critters. I've got goats over there right now and, chickens over here and that kind of thing. And so I may have to deal with that. But I've only done that very rarely. But the thing is, you don't get to pick. Like right now, something could happen. What if some Walking Dead zombie or meth head or a person who's mad as hell and he's running from the cops and he got off on a road a mile that way and is making his way through the woods and he's never going back, man. And he comes up out of those woods with a shotgun in his hand. Right now, just while I'm talking. "Excuse me, sir, let me go back to my house and get my rifle." It doesn't work that way. "Well, we ought to be safe at church." You ought to be. You ought to be safe in your person anywhere you go. But the way of the world is you're not. And the reason I say women need to carry guns more than men is because a gun is not a magic wand. It's just an extension of your ability to defend yourself, right? Criminals, predators typically look for weaker prey. In the example that we kind of started with, that church shooting that they just had, that guy went to a church. He didn't figure anybody'd have a gun. And evidently, not very many people did if he shot as long as he did without getting shot, right? So he chose smartly. Well, the reality is, I look meaner and I am more imposing than the vast majority of women out there. And so someone deciding they're going to fight either me or a woman is probably going to pick the woman. So I'm not going to have to fight. I'm not going to have to pull a gun. Maybe. But you may, as a woman. Let me tell you something. It's just like buying wheat and buying grain grinders. "Well, I don't want to get the wheat till I get a grain grinder." Buy the wheat. You can get the grinder later. Buy your gun. Yes, you should be trained. You should be highly trained, not only how to safely load, fire, and, conduct yourself on a range, basic handgun 101. You should be trained in advanced combat handgunnery, how to shoot over, under, around, through barriers, how to move tactically, how to shoot 360. Yes, you should have all that training. But at the end of the day, you still need a gun. Go get one. Go get a handgun and carry it all the time. Yeah, you may have to change what you wear. Oh, they won't let me carry a gun at work. Well, then you have 2 choices, don't you? I know, you have 3. I'll just go and not carry my gun and trust in the Lord. You know what the Lord said? He said, if you don't have a sword, buy your cloak. Sell your cloak and buy one. That's what the Lord said. You gonna trust in the Lord? Have you sold your cloak and bought a sword? I hope none of you ever have to use a firearm in self-defense of yourself or another. I do. But I also hope that if you ever do, you have one handy and you are trained and capable of using it. Think about that. Please, put away some pennies. Go get yourself a gun. Carry it all the time. Get some training. All right. I'll see you out there.